Welcome to Wake Up America. I'm Alex Kramer. It's now time to take a look at your latest business headlines. Well, nothing too crazy for the three major U.S. indexes last week, all finishing in the green. S&P 500 seeing the biggest gain, jumping more than 216 points. S&P and Dow Jones added 40 and 20 points respectively. Now, today's futures, however, they're in the red as we await Monday's opening bell. So for help with that and a whole lot more, we're going to welcome in President of Strahlmark LLC, Business Development Consultant, Hilary Fordwich. Hilary, good morning. So with big tech stocks once again driving market performance, how are President Trump's tariffs and then those ongoing trade disputes just affecting financial forecast for this year?
Well, good morning, Alex. Great to be back with you again. And I have some advice with regard to your question, and that is, I think that basically anybody who sees this as a lot of uncertainty, they don't trust Trump, they think he's a fascist, or any of the other ghastly things people are saying, they should sell off right now, sell everything, put their money where their mouth is, get out of the market. And that way we can let everybody else who believes in President Trump, all of these trade deals are going to get done. I believe in Scott Bessent and Donald Trump. And let's have those people be able to jump into the market, buy everything up, gobble everything up, and see the positive outcome soon.
You came in swinging this morning, Hilary. You're playing hardball. I love it. Put your money where your mouth is. But speaking of Scott Bessent, we're going to get to him in just a second. But headlines, of course, claiming this will be the worst April for the stock market since the Great Depression. But Hilary, we're just seeing a different story. So as you alluded to, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent had a few words to say regarding this, quote, historic rebound. Let's take a listen.
There was a story 10 days ago that said this is the worst April for the stock market since the Great Depression. 10 days later, the NASDAQ is now up on the month of April, and I haven't seen a story that says, oh, stock market has biggest bounce back ever.
They kind of left that part out, huh? What do you make of his comments there, Hilary?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe he's listening to me, but I think what we should really do is look at, there's going to be lots of earnings seriously this week. We're going to have earnings reports from Meta, from Microsoft, from Apple, from Amazon. I think you're going to see actually a first quarter relatively strong, but it really doesn't matter. If there is market uncertainty, but what are consumers doing? Not what the polls show, what are consumers actually doing and what do they anticipate? I believe the consumer actually believes in what President Trump is doing, and you're going to see strong strength by the end of the year. So don't get worried about the little market turmoils at the moment. Believe in the long-term prosperity of America.
Well, let's talk about consumers. So shifting gears just slightly, according to a recent University of Michigan survey, consumer sentiment, they're claiming plunged 8% from March to April. So the survey's director saying, quote, consumers perceived risks to multiple aspects of the economy in large part due to ongoing uncertainty around trade policy and the potential for a resurgence of inflation, end quote. What's your reaction to what they put out there?
No, I think I think they're hoping it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what and just to Scott Bessent's point, if we could tie these two stories together, they don't want to report the upside. They'll jump on any kind of negativity. Have they reported, as Caroline Levitt has done right there from the podium? She has reported on the number of trade deals that are in the works. Is it 15? Is it 18? It's some high number. And when President Trump set his goal to have 90 deals in 90 days, I believe that we'll be close to that, if not on that. And I think there's a lot of things that are so close to the end, but really, Alex, they're not reporting them yet. They're waiting to have like a sort of a windfall. And in line also, don't forget, there's going to be the vote going down on extending the Trump tax cuts. That will all come as one big, beautiful package, I believe, around the same time.
Yeah, they're just reporting all the negatives, and it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, Hilary. Wouldn't you want America to succeed? Wouldn't you want the economy to be great? But they just cannot give President Trump any wins here. But finally, really quickly, your vacation may be a bit cheaper. So according to the latest data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, airfare fell by 5.3% in March compared to last year, with passenger demand for those domestic trips weaker than expected. Airlines are facing a surplus of available seats. As a result, they're being forced to lower the prices to fill their planes. Hilary, do you think this trend could continue throughout the year, or is it just one of those quick short-term adjustments?
Well, actually, it's interesting. It's short-term adjustments, and it's interesting because it's only domestic travel. It's not international travel. Americans are still traveling internationally. So I think you just go ahead, buy a ticket if you can right now while the prices are low. And like I said, go with optimism because things will end up great by the end of the year.
Yeah, let's just take advantage of it right now. Book that trip. Hilary Fordwich, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So great seeing you.
Pleasure.